So in this lesson, we're going to learn to calculate the circumference of circles. So hopefully you already know what the circumference of a circle, and that's just the outside of the circle. So we're going to learn how to calculate its length, so we can put it into meters, centimeters, millimeters, whatever, okay? And the way we do this is written in the success criteria, and it's the circumference, C for circumference, is equal to 2 pi r, okay? Another thing we need to remember is that half the diameter is the radius, okay? And that we talked about in a previous lesson as well. And then the opposite is true. If you double the radius, you get diameter. And remember that there is a times between 2 pi and r. So what it means here is that in between all these two, there's a times, okay? And I'll be showing you how that looks like in an example soon. Okay, what is pi? So it's written this symbol. What it is, it's a number just like every other. It's a beautiful number, but it's never ending. So we call those numbers irrational, okay? Irrational numbers are ones that you can put into fractions or whole numbers. Irrational are ones that you can't box them in, and pi is one of them. So we give it its own symbol like that. And these are the first whatever amount of numbers. There's a decimal point over here that you can see. I don't know if you can see that. There, and then it goes on. Now, there are people and students in the past that can remember 50 numbers after the decimal point, or 100, and people actually go into competitions and recite them. And we might do that too. We'll see how we go. Now, how do we calculate it? It's the circumference divided by the diameter. But we don't need to do that. We just have pi on our calculator and it lives there happily for us. Let's get going. All right, find the circumference of the following circles to 2 decimal places. So when it says find circumference, the first thing I need to do is just put my formula down, and it's C equals 2 pi r. Now, underneath the equal sign, I'm going to do a bit of working out. I remember my success criteria said that there's a times between the 2 and the pi and the r, so I'm going to rewrite it like that. So 2 times pi. Now, pi is just a number that exists on your calculator. If you can't find it, please ask your teacher, and they'll show you how to get it on the calculator. Times, and then r means radius. Now, radius, I remember, is from the middle to the edge. So what's our radius here? Looks like it's 5 centimeters. So I'm just going to put 5 in brackets. Okay, and then that's it. Now it's just calculator work. So I'm going to go 2 times pi. Hopefully I've found it in my calculator. And I get my circumference is equal to 1.4 159.2 654, but that's too many numbers, and the question says to 2 decimal places, so that means that I'm looking here, and the critical value is 5. Is that 5 or higher? Yes, it is, so therefore this 1 will turn into a 2. So therefore the circumference is equal to 31.42, and what's our units? Centimeters. Make sure you put it in centimeters, and I'm just going to write 2 dp because what I've done is I've rounded it off to 2 decimal places. Okay, so that's that. So maybe I'll move that across a little bit. There we go. Let's look at our second example. So the second example, I'm going to write my formula down. C equals 2 pi r. Now, I realise that I haven't been given radius because radius is from the centre to the edge. Oh, but I remember on the success criteria that we've got to half the diameter to get the radius. So half of 14 is 7. So maybe I'll write that down. Radius equals 7 millimetres is our units. So now I'm ready to do my formula. So I'm going to go C equals 2. Now remember that between the 2 and the pi there's a times that mathematicians are too lazy to write. So there's a times between each one of them. So times pi, which is just a number that exists in our calculator, times 7. And now I'm ready to calculate, so I'm going to use my calculator. 2 times pi times 7, and I get 43.98229715. Now, I'm also going to go to 2 decimal places, so let's go there. And we get C equals 43.98. Let's look at our critical value is 2, so it's not going to change the 8. So that's it there. What are our units? It looks like it's millimetres this time. And I'm just going to write 2 dp because it's 2 decimal points. And that's it. That's how we calculate the circumference of the circles. So a couple of things. You need to have a calculator, because you need to have pi to calculate it. If you don't, use a really good online calculator. Desmos Scientific Calculator, I recommend. All right, peace out.